Having finished watching all of the original Rugrats series, I decided to check out Preschool Days, but based on the animation style, before I even watched it, my hopes weren't very high. And I have to say, in terms of the narrative, this first episode is good, and the characters are very good, but it's the animation style that just does not work for me, and I'm not surprised there were only 4 episodes of this. The first episode is Good News, Bad News, and this is a spin off of the Preschool Days episode where Angelica and Susie go to preschool. And here we have Angelica and Susie and Harold and Miss Weemer and some other children. And what I do like about this is that we got to know some of the other children quite well. And I feel like had this show continued beyond 4 episodes, there could have been a lot of different narratives explored because there are a lot of different characters. And I think that that could have been something that could have worked very well. This first episode actually revolves around Dream It, Be It, which is where the children get a chance to experience what their dreams would be like. And Angelica decides that she wants to be an anchor lady, and she thinks that this would be a great job because all eyes are on her and she gets to control things and do all of the talking, and yeah, maybe it would be a good job for her. And the class, Miss Weemer encourages the class to then create their own news show. And Angelica is in front of the camera, Susie is producing it, and Harold is there. And they go off and try and find interesting stories. But Angelica isn't happy with the stories that they're finding, so she decides to create some news. But unfortunately, in order to create the news, she has to create the drama. And things don't go according to plan. And I won't say any more than that. It's an interesting narrative. I think there are a lot of really great lessons. The first lesson is you shouldn't cause trouble just to make an interesting news story. But we have lessons about patience. There's a lesson about supporting your friends and the importance of friendship. There are a lot of opportunities for learning in this, for young children to learn various important life messages and morals and things that are generally just good takeaways. I think the narrative developed really well. The whole thing is 20-something minutes. I was quite surprised by that because I was expecting it to be kind of like 2 segments like Rugrats, but it did manage to sustain the narrative for the full time, and I think that's partly because we do have, as I said, other characters, other children in the preschool to help make it a bit more interesting. And I think that could have worked for more than just 4 episodes because some of the characters were quite interesting. Savannah, in particular, there was something about Savannah that I found quite fascinating. It was also really great to have Charlotte in it. Charlotte Pickles, she was in it a little bit when she was dropping Angelica off, which was quite nice. But honestly, I don't love Miss Weemer as a character. There's also a subplot with her having a mysterious gift on her desk, and honestly, I feel like that was there just to pad things out. I didn't find it interesting at all. But I also just don't like her as a character. And the animation style is unpleasant. It's not just that it's different to Rugrats, so it's unusual to see Angelica and Susie in this style. It is actually not nice to look at. I feel like the shading in some of the colours, for example, Angelica's hair is like 3 shades of yellow, but it just doesn't look very good. And a lot of the the lines of their facial features and things, I don't find them to be very pleasing to look at all. The backdrops and things are okay. It's mainly the characters, and they have just like bright red blush on their cheeks, and it just looks ridiculous. And I don't care for it at all. I actually do not like looking at it, and I wonder if that's part of the reason why it was only 4 episodes. Maybe it only ever meant to be 4 episodes, and it's just a coincidence that it visually is not very nice to look at. But honestly, I don't understand why they wanted to make it look that different to Rugrats. Had this been just a spin-off with the same animation style, I do think it had the potential to do quite well because it's able to address topics that are for slightly older children than the age of Rugrats, but younger than all grown up. So it kind of bridges that middle ground where they're maybe not old enough to deal with preteen issues, but a little bit older than a baby or a toddler. And I feel like it could have actually done quite well. But unfortunately, despite having an interesting narrative, it just didn't work. The animation style for me is not pleasant. Will I watch the other 3 episodes? Probably. I'm not in a rush, but I think I'd like to see if if the animation style grows on me, to see how the narratives are and if they utilize any of the other characters in more detail. So I'm keen to see what the other episodes are like. But had this been a full, 20 something episode series, I might not have been so enthusiastic about it. We'll see how the other episodes go. But for now, the first episode of Rugrats Preschool Days is okay in terms of the narrative and the characters, except Miss Weemer, but that's just me not liking her. But in terms of the animation style, I really hope it grows on me because it's really not pleasant.